This conference will now be recorded.
All right, starting out presentation, guys. Like I said, everybody's gonna have their own presentation, own style. I'm just gonna go over what I feel has always worked the best. Like I said, take what you like out of this and use it or lose it, whichever you feel. But I'm gonna go over what I feel has proactively. I'm a proactive presentation type of person. So for me, the difference between a proactive presentation and a reactive presentation is going to be a big difference when it comes down to your closing. So when you think about closing, um, if you're having a hard time closing at the end and you guys are getting to a point where you're constantly having to hard close people, to me, that tells me that your presentation is busted. If your presentation is on point and you go through the way that I'm going to show you, there should be no reason that you should have to hard close people by the end. They should just pick a policy and go with it. You might have to have a little rebuttal, but you shouldn't have anything that would be major. Okay. So, starting out, we're going to go over some of the rapport. The way that I've always generated the presentation is in bullet points. I'm not a big script person. So for me, for you guys that like a script, maybe one day in the future I'll write it down, some things that I would say to help you out. But I believe everybody talks a little bit different and might say things a little bit different. The only thing that matters to me is the order that you go down through and do everything. So for instance, starting out with rapport, I don't care which presentation style you do, rapport is one of the main things that you do. Actually, rapport starts from the phone call. Building that rapport with the person, being enthusiastic about what you're talking about on the phone, is going to be huge to help you get into the house. So, but rapport from the house. When you guys are walking up to the house, start looking around, start taking a look and see, what do they have? Do they collect cars? Do they work on cars in their garage? Do they collect farm tractors? Who knows what it may be? So when you knock on the door, one thing I've always done is when I knock on the door from an appointment or just a cold door knock, I'll go up and I'll ask them basically, I'll say, hey, is that a Corvette over there? Oh yeah, man, what year is that thing? I love Corvettes. And I'll start getting them talking about Corvettes or whatever else it may be that they like. Because remember, somebody will always talk about something that they like quicker than they'll talk about things that they don't like. So the first thing I do is build rapport. On the way in the house, I'm building rapport with them. If I'm walking through their living room and they got nothing but a collection of NASCARs, or you got somebody that collects knickknacks or whatever it may be, start talking about these things on your way through. Start to be energetic and build a rapport with them until you get to the table. And as you get to the table, start asking them how long they've been in the area. Are they from the area? Do they have a lot of family still left in the area, and whatever may have you? So build the rapport. Rapport is huge to build the trust. Remember, people buy from people they like, not just because of your products. Some products will sell themselves, but I know for me, I buy from people that I like, and if I don't like you, I really don't want to buy from you. So, the first thing that I do to get out of rapport, either remember the client is either going to get you out of rapport, or you're going to get the client out of rapport. So if you're building rapport, what we're going to do is we're going to go down through here and we're going to do a little bit of role play. Who wants to do some role play? Who's on here? Carl's already been helping out. Let's see.
Hey, this is Manatee out of Tennessee. I'll help out.
All right. What's your first name again?
David.
David. All right. Nice to meet you, David. What we're going to do is we're going to go through here, and we're not going to do a full presentation. I'm going to go bits and pieces, and I'm going to explain why we do certain things the way we do it. So if I'm sitting with you in the house and I'm already building rapport and you're telling me how long you've lived here and your life story, whatever, you don't want to drag that out too long because you don't want to get them off of the understanding that we're here to buy insurance today. Um, they're either going to stop the rapport by saying, hey, Dave, what is this all about anyway? And I'll say, oh, well, remember you sent in this card here. So the next section, you're going to say, remind them about the card. So if not, when we're building rapport and I want to get out of rapport, I would say, hey, Dave, that's awesome, man. I can't believe you lived here 35 years. That's great. But let me ask you a question. When you had filled out this card, you remember sending this card in here? I'm going to get them out of rapport. So either they're going to get you out of rapport or you're going to get them out of rapport, one or the other. But the first thing I want to do is remind them about the commercial that they did on TV or the mailer that they mailed in. The reason why this is important, if you don't remind them about the TV commercial and they don't remember doing it, you're going to force yourself into a rebuttal at the end, and they're going to say, I don't remember doing this. So to give an example, let's say you go in and I say, Dave, you remember filling out this card here in the mail or doing a TV commercial? And you say no. I don't remember doing this. If I just say, oh, no problem, well, let me just tell you about what we do, and I just go into it, well, that's going to tend to be a problem because when I get to the end of the close and I say, okay, well, out of these three, which one are going to help your family out the best? And you go, what are you going to say to me? You're going to say, well, I told you I don't remember doing this, so I wasn't looking to
Yeah.
buy anything
Yeah.
today. So you're going to force yourself into rebuttal. So for me, one of the most important things that I could do is remind them of the TV commercial or remind them about the card and get them to acknowledge that they've done it. So if I say, now, Dave, when you had sent this in, hey, there you are. Now we got 2 videos up. There we go.
Yeah.
So if I say, when you remember sending this card in here, and once you say yes, oh, okay, yeah, you sent it in just a little while back. But anyway, when you had sent this card in, were you looking for this information, or were you looking to apply for yourself or for somebody else in the family?
For myself.
Okay, this was for you. Okay, not a problem. We'll get it taken care of here today for you. But before I go into anything, let me verify a little bit of the info that I have down here. Now, looks like you wrote down on your card here that you were 64 years old. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right, perfect. And it looks like your address is this, and this is the best phone number to get a hold of you at right here?
Absolutely. Yes.
All right, perfect. Well, what I'm going to do for you, Dave, is I'm going to try to get you some discounts, okay? You like discounts, don't you?
Matter of fact, I do.
All right, listen, everybody loves discounts. I love saving people money. So now think about this. Number one, you want to remind them about the mailer or the TV. If they don't remember, just go in and just say, okay, well, this was just a little while ago. You probably forgot a little bit, but remember you seen a TV commercial on the TV that was basically talking about the final expense insurance benefits, about the rising costs of inflation going up and funeral costs, or if the mailer, yeah, you would have got a card in the mail. It would have been about this big. It would have said about the final expense insurance benefits and the cost going up. And it said if you were looking for additional information to fill this card out, this is actually the card here that you filled out in hand. This is your writing, isn't it? So you want to make sure they remember. Once they remember, jog their memory, do whatever you got to do to get past it. Now, the reason I say, okay, well, now let me ask you a question. When you filled this card out, was this for you or somebody else in the family? When they say me, they're automatically, number one, confirming that they did it, and they're confirming who it's for. So you don't have to worry about trying to figure that out later.
Right. Yeah.
You don't want to start only doing a presentation with the wife, and then you figure out they're like, oh, well, no, this isn't for me. I was calling in for my brother, Larry, that lives in
For
Florida.
my husband, yeah. Or yeah.
I mean,
My dad did it several. Yeah.
yeah, or no, this is for me and my husband, but he's out cutting grass, you know? Figure out who this is for right away, and you also want to figure that out a little bit on the phone. So if I say, well, was this for you or somebody else on the phone, which we'll get into phone script, but if they say, well, this is for me and my husband, I'd say, okay, well, make sure Larry's going to be there because we want to make sure we go over this with both of you because you don't want to go through it with one
Absolutely. Yeah.
and they're going to one leg you and you're going to create a rebuttal. The rebuttal you're going to create is, well, I can't make a decision today. I got to go over this with my husband. Well, you don't want to put yourself into that category. So who was this for? Was this for you or somebody else in the family? Okay, great. It was for you. Now, once they acknowledge it, then I'm going to say, okay, great. Well, we'll get that taken care of for you. Not a problem. But before I do, let me ask you, I just need to verify some of this information that you wrote down. So I'm verifying their info. Now let's rewind a minute. Let's say they don't remember it. And let's say you say, no, I don't remember the card. And they say, I don't remember doing this. I didn't do this. I said, well, all right, well, let me ask you a question. I asked them this dumb little question that ends up pulling the information out of them. So I'd say, well, let me ask you a question, Dave. I know you don't really remember, but when you filled it out or maybe when you seen the TV commercial, I mean, what were you looking to do? Maybe just get a little more information or add on a little bit more to what you have. For some reason, when you say that, they will automatically come in and just say, well, yeah, I think when I did this, it was to try to figure out, what this was all about, or for some reason it jogs their memory and it just gets past that part of them saying, no, I don't remember. And it just gets them right into remembering. So I would just say, now, when you had filled this out, what were you looking to do? Were you looking to just add on a little bit more coverage maybe on what you have or just get a little bit more information?
Yeah.
It'll automatically drag it
I
out.
like to just make the assumption that they filled it out. I don't usually ask them, do you remember filling it out? I just said, when you filled this out, what were you thinking, when you
Exactly.
inquired?
Yep, exactly. So remind them of,
I don't remember, but I guess, yeah.
remind them of the card. Assume it. You don't have to ask them. That's a good point to make. You don't have to ask them if they remember it. When I say remind them means not ask them, but remind them, say, well, now when you filled this card out here, looks like you called into one of our
Yeah.
TV commercials. If they say, no, I didn't call in here, you have to hit that rebuttal right there, because if you don't, you're going to get a rebuttal at the end that you can't overcome, or it's going to be a challenge. So once you remind them of it, okay, well, who is this for yourself or somebody else in the family? Okay, it was for you. All right, well, we'll get that taken care of today for you, Dave. But before I get into anything, let me verify the information that you did write down here. So it looks like you wrote down you're 64. Is that correct? Okay, great. Your address is this and your phone number is this. Perfect. All right. Well, what I'm going to do today, Dave, now that I have all your information correct here, I'm going to try to get you some discounts today. You like discounts, don't you? Yes. Everybody likes discounts. So when I say, do you like discounts, what am I saying to them? You're buying.
I would
I'm
save
going to
you
save you some money.
Yeah.
That's it. So they say, yeah, I love discounts. All right, perfect. I'm going to save you some money today. All right, great. So now I say, what I'm going to do, Dave, is one of the first ways where we give you some discounts, since life insurance is based upon your age or your health. Let me ask you a question. Now, you guys see here on the right-hand side where I have the worksheet listed. I designed this worksheet to go through for a brand new agent to stay on point with their presentation. Because if you've ever done a new presentation, you'll get to a point where you're trying to wonder, wait, what do I say next? What should I be asking? I made the bullet points right along with the worksheet. So if you're a brand new agent, you go in and you just do this worksheet, you'll be good. Okay. So one of the first questions I asked, remember I was saying in underwriting, now, are you a smoker or non-smoker, Dave?
No.
Non-smoker. Okay, perfect. So now, remember, what's my next question going to be? Remember from the underwriting? If they're a non-smoker, where are we starting at?
Well, for a non-smoker, how's your health been in the last 10 years?
It's 5 years. Remember, preferred is 5. So remember, the first section of preferred.
You're right. Yeah, we didn't want to jump to that 10-year right out of the gate, because that's
You can jump for 10, but like I said, most people aren't going to qualify for 10 years.
They're going to start talking about something, but I'd be more likely to catch them in a 5-year window if nothing goes wrong than 10.
Exactly. Yeah. So once I say, are you a smoker or non-smoker? That's my first question. So now, okay, you're a non-smoker. Great. Now, Dave, how's your health been over the past 5 years?
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly. It's fantastic. Yeah.
Now, if I say, Dave, are you a smoker or non-smoker, and you say smoker, well, right away, I'm going to say, okay, well, how's your health been over the past 2 years?
2 years, exactly.
Yeah.
It automatically.
Now,
yeah.
So now, once I go through health, so let's just role play and say you're on non-smoker. Okay, you're a non-smoker. Dave, how's your health been over the past 5 years?
Fantastic. I never get sick.
Okay, you sound like a healthy young man. So are you on any medications on a regular basis right now, or have you been on any medications over the past 5 years?
No, I don't take medication. I didn't take aspirin.
Wow, no medications, Dave. 64 years old, no meds, man. I hope I can get to that point. So listen, so over the past 5 years then, you've been on no medications, no surgeries, no medications, no nothing?
No, nothing.
Okay, so no heart. I'm just going to run through a couple just to make sure. No heart problems, lung problems, any COPD, any type of liver, kidney problems, anything like that. No diabetes.
No, nothing.
High blood pressure, cholesterol meds.
Nope.
Any crazy meds, any, bipolar, depression, anxiety meds. Smoking any wacky tobacco, Dave? No wacky tobacco smoking? All right. Good. Well, it sounds like you qualify for the first discount, Dave, so I want to congratulate you on that. You being a healthy person, getting life insurance, I don't know if you know this, but the best time to buy life insurance, Dave, is when you're the youngest and healthiest possible. Okay? So the next one is, and I don't need any of your personal information, Dave. They just ask whether you use like a regular checking, savings, or a federal credit union, something like that. I'd imagine you have one of those, right?
Yeah, checking account.
Okay. Is that just through like a regular bank or through like a credit union?
Credit union, actually.
Credit union. All right, perfect. All right, got that listed here. And Dave, because this is for your burial, are you looking to be buried or cremation?
Sent to the moon. No, I'm looking for burial.
Hey, that's a different one, Dave. Last week I had a guy tell me he wanted his ashes cremated and he wanted dumped through his 454 motor through his Chevelle. So, hey, I've never heard of that yet, but I guess if you want to be blown through the engine and out the exhaust, we'll do whatever way you want. You know what I mean? So you want to be sent to the moon. Do you want to be in a casket or do you want to be burned up?
I'd say burn up. I'll get off the moon thing, but yeah, regular barrel will be fine.
All right,
Yeah.
regular barrel. The reason I say that, Dave, is because do you know what the average cost of burial is right now in your area?
Look, about 7 to 10. Just buried my father-in-law, so about 7 to 10.
Oh man, I'm sorry to hear about that, but you're exactly right. It's probably about 7 to 10, depending on some areas. It could be anywhere from 8 to 12. But I will tell you, the biggest problem is
Yeah.
not how much it's being right now, Dave. You know what the biggest problem is? The biggest problem is how much it's going to be over the next few years, right? I mean, we never thought that we'd have, $5 for a gallon of milk or $10 for a pack of cigarettes, right? I mean, back in your day, it was what, a nickel for a pack of cigarettes, maybe 25
Yeah.
cents. So now,
Yeah.
inflation is going up not only on products, but it's going up on the funeral products as well. So let me ask you, since this is so high cost, do you have anything already going towards your final expenses? Any other type of life insurance programs?
No, I don't. This would be the first thing. And
Okay,
I'm
so
looking
that's
to
fine.
do something because the prices are getting more and more. So,
I got you. So when you called in, you were just looking to get something covered because you didn't have anything.
yes.
Okay, we'll get that taken care of today. So now look, in the first 5 minutes being in the house, right? I already know who it's for, if they smoke or don't smoke, their age, their health, are they on any medications, do they have a checking or savings account? Because if they don't have that, isn't that going to create a problem? If they don't have a checking or
Yes, it
savings,
is. Yeah.
they can't pay me by the end. And now I want to know if they want to be buried or cremated because I don't want to spend the next 45 minutes explaining caskets, vaults, digging, headstones, everything if they just want to be cremated,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I want to make a custom built presentation. And then the other question I want to ask is, do you have anything going towards it? Do you have any current insurance? So if they say, yeah, I got 5,000, I'd say, okay, great. How long ago did you get that? 3 years ago. I just didn't think it was going to be
Mm-hmm.
enough. That's why I'm calling in. Okay, great. So what were you looking to do then? You were just looking to add on like another 5 or 10,000 just to make sure just enough to take care of business? Yes. Okay, great. So
Yeah.
within the first 5 minutes, I know everything that I need to know going into this presentation. So now my transition is to get out of qualifying them to get into going over the education portion, which I know a lot of agents probably don't do this, but this is one thing that I've done ever since I started in the business. Was I'm going to ask you, Dave, do you know the difference between whole life and term?
I do. Yes.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go over a brief explanation for you since you already know a little bit about it. Most people don't know, but there's hundreds of different types of life insurance policies out there, Dave, but the most important ones you're going to learn about, especially at your age, are going to be what's called whole life and term. Okay. Now, term insurance is exactly what it stands for. So I have this little diagram on here, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to draw money symbols going up this ladder. And I'm going to say term, Dave, is temporary. It's for the short term. Okay. And most of the ones you're going to see in your age, they come in 5, 10, and 20-year terms. But most of the ones that are popular at your age, 60 and up, are going to be about a 5-year term. Okay, and a lot of the companies you're going to see, you're going to be on TV and get in the mail. Companies like AARP, Globe Life, Colonial Penn, a lot of these companies are temporary. And that means they go up in price every 5 years and then they cancel. So guess what happens? I put a money symbol. I say you get it at a certain age. I put a little money symbol down by the term. And then as that step ladder goes up, I keep writing a bigger money symbol, a bigger money symbol. And when I get up to 80, I say, guess what happens, Dave?
It terminates at 80. Yeah.
Exactly. It cancels. Guess what? And all that money you just put into it is now gone. And now you're 80 years old sitting down with a guy like me again. But now here's two problems you have. One, you're older. And number two, you may not even qualify because your health has changed. Okay. So term, it isn't that it's just bad or the companies that sell it, it's not a big thing. We have term as well. But at your age, Dave, I'd imagine you're looking for what? Something that's permanent, something that's guaranteed to be there. And you said you were getting this
Yeah.
to make sure your daughter was taken care of.
Yeah. It needs to
Okay.
be there when I go.
Right. So you want to make sure
I'll
it's
be
never
there.
going to go up in price. So I'd imagine, Dave, you're probably on what, a fixed income?
Yes.
All right. Well, you know what? That's the benefit of what we do. So we do what's called whole life. So see whole life right here, and I draw a line across to where it says 100. I say whole life. I write a money symbol right above the whole life, and I say whatever you pay for it today, Dave, at 64, you'll never have an increased premium, even if you live to 100. So as long as you don't cancel your policy, here and then down here, see the bullet point right below it where it says 24-hour payout. If I already know that they're pretty much going to be standard or above, then I can start telling them about 24-hour payout. Right. One of the best things we do here at Senior Life, Dave, that separates us from most people, most companies, is we guarantee our payout after receiving the death benefit within the first 2 years for 24 hours. right? The best thing about what we do is our whole life policies never increase in premium. Your coverage will never cancel due to your age or health changing, and you'll never have to worry about your coverage decreasing. Okay, and I go over those three things because that's what they're going to hear every day on the TV commercials. They're going to see that in their marketing every day. So now, once I explain that, now let's say I know they're going to be modified or guaranteed issue. Let's say this person has a heart attack last year or COPD, and I know they're going to be on a limited death benefit. Instead of talking about 24-hour payout, now that I know that in my head, I'm going to say, okay, Dave, well, looking around for your insurance, that you've had a heart attack, you got COPD, just about everywhere you've probably been, they either declined you or they were going to really rate you up there, huh? And they're going to say yes. And I'm going to say, okay, well, the good thing about what we do is we have a plan here that specializes in members that have heart problems. It's called our modified death benefit. It's going to give 110% of the premiums return in the first 2 years. And the best thing about it, Dave, is you're never going to be younger and healthier you are today. So you want to get your insurance today, okay, because you're never going to be younger than 64. Our health is typically never going to be better than it is today. So you want to lock this in. The best thing about whole life is once you lock it in, Dave, you're going to be guaranteed covered. You're going to be locked in at 64. Your coverage is never going to go up, and it'll never cancel due to your age or health changing. And that's what you're looking for, right? Something permanent, something's going to be there for your family.
Yes.
All right, perfect. So you see how everything that we do is proactive? Everything that I say is getting them to tie them down into a corner. And then the next part, I'm going to transition now out of the education. Now, one thing that I do here, the reason I educate them is for two reasons, maybe even three. But the first two is, number one, educating them is going to get rid of your rebuttals at the end. Which rebuttals you think we're going to get rid of?
I don't really understand the difference between this and that, and I need to talk to somebody and make a decision. I don't.
Exactly. I got to think about this, Dave. I really don't know which one I want to go with. I got all these flyers sitting here over here on the table. I got to go through them yet, and yours sounds good, but I don't know if yours is the best. So I'm going to eliminate. I like to eliminate all rebuttals for the most part throughout my presentation. So every one, I'm just working them down. I always say it's like boxing. I'm going to hit you in the ribs. I'm going to work you down before the end comes. And if I can proactively do this, it's going to make your closing that much easier. So if I go over AARP, Globe Life, Colonial Penn, a lot of these are temporary or go up in price and cancel when you're 80. And they say, really, I didn't know that. So now when I move on, when I get to the end of the presentation, I don't have to worry about them rebuttaling me saying they got to look at stuff. Another thing it's going to do is it's going to help.
Colonial Penn in the mail, and I need to look at it. Yeah,
exactly. So the other thing it's going to do is help your persistency, because now when I write you a policy for $50 for $5,000 in coverage, and you go to your cousin's house, Dave, and they say, "Oh man, Shane ripped you off. He took advantage of you, Dave. I got $15,000 over here with Alex Trebek, and or with ARP." And I got it, there. I'm only paying $32 a month, and I'm older than you. And you're gonna be like, "Oh man, that guy screwed me." No, if I educate you, you're gonna tell your cousin, "No, which one you got? You got the AARP. You got the temporary one. You got that one that's gonna go up in price and cancel on you when you're 80."
Yeah.
They're gonna be like, "Really? Well, let me talk to your guy. You'll generate a referral from it, and you'll keep your persistency on the books, because I promise you, if you don't educate them right here in your presentation, and they get a letter in the mail from AARP next week says get 30,000 now for a penny, they're going to cancel your policy.
Absolutely.
They're going to buy AARP without understanding what it is, and unfortunately 20 years from now when it cancels on them, they're going to be crying the blues. So if you educate them, you're going to help overcome your rebuttals, number one. Number two, educate them so that way you'll keep your persistency, and it's just going to make your closing a lot easier. So I put that diagram on here just to help out that. Next, to get out of education, I like to smooth transition out. So my smooth transition out is, well, let me ask you a question, Dave. Now, do you have your will set up yet?
I don't, no.
Okay. All right. Well, listen, most of our members don't, and we know that. So what we did is we came up with this Final Wish Planner. And what this does is it's going to help get the information to the Final Wish Planner, guys, is going to be in this part right here. They're going to be in this senior care brochure. And in this senior care brochure, it's going to go over everything that we just reiterated on the company. But in the middle of the booklet, it's going to be a Final Wish Planner. So when you're going in the house, this is my main tool that I'm using to go over it. So once I get back here, okay, I'm going to get back here to where I'm going to talk about find a wish planner. I say, so, one of the biggest challenges is, being organized. And most members, if you're anything like my parents, my mom was, she had stuff stuffed everywhere, important documents in the couch
Mm-hmm.
cushions. She had things in drawers and cupboards. I mean, it was everywhere, and I tell them a true story because I have a true testimonial. So when I was 20 years old, guys, my mother passed away when I was only 20. I had a 6-month-old baby at that time, and I probably had $50 in my bank account. And when she passed away, the funeral director comes out and says, "How do you want to take care of this?" And I'm looking like, I don't know. What do you mean? Take care of what? They're like, well, she wants to be cremated. Well, my gram wants to bury her because that's what our tradition is. So I'm sitting here going, okay, my mom always told me she wants to be, cremated because she doesn't want bugs crawling on her and she's claustrophobic. She doesn't want to be in a casket. But my gram says, well, I'm paying for it, so she's getting, buried with a viewing. Well, she doesn't want a viewing. So now you got everybody arguing, and what I'm doing at this point is I'm painting a picture, right? Because everybody, if anybody had a loss, they get with their family and they can understand this fact, right? Everybody's in there arguing. Everybody wants to do a different thing. You got a brother and sister. One wants to do one way. Well, no, I'm doing it. Mom always trusted me to do this, and you got all this chaos going back and forth. And I tell people, listen, sometimes funerals will break up an entire family because everybody doesn't know what's going on and they all start arguing. So I said, next thing you know, it's a rat race. Everyone wants to get over there. Like when my mother died or my grandfather died, they wanted to go over who was getting his MP nightstick from when he was in the military. Well, they promised me that when he died, I could get it, or his mug glasses at the bar. You get what I mean? So it sounds crazy, but this is what happens. So I say, you probably seen that. And they say, yeah, we didn't know what we were doing. And people don't know if they have life insurance or, if they have any money to take care of it. And I say, well, listen, you know how long it takes to plan a wedding, Dave? How long do you think it takes to plan a wedding? About a
With
year.
my wife, her whole life.
I hear you. I'm still working on it. Yeah, but it takes about an average of about a year, right? And they say you got to plan who's coming, what are we wearing, what's for dinner.
Yep.
Guess what? When somebody dies, how many days do you think you got to plan that?
It's about 3, and everybody that would come to the wedding is probably coming to the funeral as well.
That's right. It's probably the last time they've seen you, probably since high school, right? So here's the thing.
Yep.
If it takes only 2 or 3 days to figure this out, something that takes a year to plan, think about this, Dave. We need to make sure that we write down in here, this book's going to keep you organized and it's going to get rid of all the chaos in your family. So even before they get the will done, until you get that done, you're going to have everything in here that you need. All your personal information, your social, your bank account information. What is your birthday? I mean, this is things that when my mother passed away, Dave, I couldn't even remember her birthday. You're in the worst state of mind at that point. You just lost your mother, your best friend of however long, you're not thinking about their birthday. Yep. It just goes away. So we want to put down, who do we need to notify? Do we need to notify their spouse and whatever? All that information is going to be in here. Do you want buried? Do you want cremated? All that's going to be in here. It's going to take confusion out. So if anybody has a question, they're going to say, no, mom wants cremated. It says it right here. See this? So it's going to alleviate that problem. So your family doesn't argue with they should be celebrating your life, Dave, not arguing over it. Okay. And you can see how that would benefit you, right?
When I give an example like that, like you just did, if we had the opportunity to prod them, have you ever had a situation like that? Matter of fact, I haven't talked to my brother in years because we're arguing on who paid for mom's funeral, because he has more and gave less, I have less and gave more. It's this whole storyline, and you bring that, they feel it right now. They say, hey, let's just eliminate all of that. We're going to get your benefits to them. We know who's paying it. We know how it's going to be set up, and then it won't be that kind of argument for your kids like it was for you and your brother. And then you solve the problem that they just told you about.
That's right. Create the problem, but you got to paint a picture. You got to put them at that time period, because for me, that picture is vivid. I lived that. I remember being there and the funeral director coming out and saying, hey, how do you want to take care of this? And when they told me how much it was, I couldn't even sell my car for that much at that time, at 20 years old. So that's real and that's reality. And they're going to understand that and they're going to feel that. So once you explain that, now I'm going to see what I'm doing with this final wish planner is I'm buttering them up to go over the legacy, because I'm going to create the problem and then I'm going to come in with the solution. Okay. And I say, now another thing is, because of the high cost of the stuff, I mean, what do you think an average casket these days go for, or a headstone? I know for my mom, I felt bad because we didn't get a headstone for 3 years because it cost two grand, and we didn't have $2,000 to get it. My mom would have done anything for me, and I couldn't get her a headstone, right? So I asked
Exactly.
them, what do you think the average cast? I'm interactive with them, right? So I'm like, Dave, what do you think the average casket or headstone costs these days? And they're going to answer you 3, 4,000, probably 2,000,
Yeah.
2,500 for a headstone. You know,
And if
I
they have
mean,
an example, they'll give you their example of what they just went through.
exactly. They're saying, listen, I just did my brother's and it cost me 12 grand, and I mean his casket alone was 7,500 bucks. And say exactly, so you can see the biggest cost is the casket, the vault, and the headstone, right? So what am I doing? I'm transitioning into what? Talk about the legacy, right? So when we get to
Exactly.
legacy,
Yeah.
I'm gonna click through here. When we get to legacy, now I'm gonna say, guys, because of that high cost, we actually work with a company called Legacy, and because we know the chaos. But now that you have this, and here's where I start proactively closing them. Okay, I assumptive close everybody. So I say, now that you have your final wish planner done, when your policy comes in the mail, Dave, you're gonna take your final wish planner along with your policy, put them together, and put them in one nice, neat, organized place. So when you pass away, your family's going to have everything they need to know what they have and what they need, and then they're going to have your policy information all in one place. You see how that's going to help your family? Okay. Now,
Exactly. Yeah.
along with that, now that you have all your policy information written down and everything you have and your wishes, what we do is we actually have with Legacy. Legacy only works with senior life, and we have what's called a wish team. Okay, and on this wish team, what they're going to do is, now that you have everything written down here on your wish planner, they're going to go through and take care of your beneficiary and call up to 3 funeral homes. Okay, up to 3 funeral home, Dave, of your choice, to help negotiate the pricing for you. Because if you've never planned a funeral and don't know how much it is to open the grave, close it, how much it is to set the stone, unfortunately, when somebody dies, Dave, they're going to ask you is, do you have life insurance? And if you say yes, 10,000,
Yeah.
how much you think it's going to be?
Yeah,
10,000.
Shane, I use the example. Yeah, I use the example of I wouldn't go and do a car dealership because the first thing they ask me is how much can you spend? How much
Right.
can you afford to pay for this car? And based on what I'm telling them, they're either going to show me a Chevette or they're going to show me a Corvette. When I was in the military, I had stripes, and as soon as they looked at my shoulder, they said, I know exactly what you can afford, because they knew my pay scale better than I did, because around
Exactly.
the military days. So yeah, you want somebody else having that conversation instead of you through your tears saying, I have a check for 10,000, and well, we'll make it work. You tell me
Yep.
a check for 5, well, we'll make that work. Of course, whatever the window is, they're going to make it work.
Yep. So
Exactly.
what I say is, but most people will, Dave, go and negotiate for car prices. You'll go to a couple different dealerships to get the best price. But they always say
Exactly.
here, the more you cry, the more you buy. And unfortunately, most people just want to get it taken care of. It's the worst time of their life. They just lost their loved one. They don't go and negotiate. They just want it taken care of. And especially if they have money, they're going to get taken advantage of, unfortunately. So what we do is, we're going to call the
Exactly.
3 funeral homes of their choice, and we're going to negotiate their pricing. Now, we already said, you said the casket is going to cost 3 or 4 or 5 thousand. What if I told you with Legacy, we could not only give you discounted wholesale funeral merchandise, we can lock your casket in at $1,500, lock in your vault at $750, and you can get headstones with free engraving and free shipping as low as $500. So we're going to be able to get you a casket, a vault, and a headstone for less than what it would cost just to get a casket on the market. So for 3 grand, inflation proof. Dave, you're 64 years old. Even if you live up until 90, what do you think it would have cost for a casket back in 1955? 500
Yeah,
bucks,
you can't beat
400.
that with a stick. Yeah, what you're telling me, Shane, is really something. I can tell you just by, yeah, I mean, I'm in the business like you are, but literally, if you present this correctly, it seems to me like, okay, I've always wanted a 67 Chevelle, and if I could lock the price in then and then get it now, gee, that'd be swell. You know what I
Exactly.
mean?
That's why I go back and say, listen, if a casket
It's
cost
a mistake
500
though.
bucks back
Yeah,
then, if it cost 5 grand now, you could have bought like you said, use whatever reference you want. I always say you could have bought a pink Cadillac back there with the pink fins, but now you're getting a
yeah,
casket. So I explain to them in an analogy to make them understand inflation is real. It's going to go up in price, right? So once I explain that, guys, legacy, if you explain legacy correctly, is like the cherry on the top. Once you've done everything else properly and you put legacy on the top of it, they're just like, at this point, they're like, Shane, how much is this? I say, hey, okay, Dave, we'll get
yeah,
to that
yeah,
here in a
yeah.
second, right? But does that make sense? Do you see how legacy is going to help your family? Do you see how locking in your prices now is going to help not only get you the whole life locked in, get you the accidental death benefit policy, lock in your funeral merchandise, and you see how the wish team is going to help get you organized? right? So guys, now remember we were talking about referrals. Everywhere we've been in this presentation, don't be afraid to collect the referral at the prescription discount card. Don't forget to collect the referral right here at the legacy. Don't forget to collect the referral once you get into the to the senior care brochure and the final wish planner, because that's where it's going to be key. Okay. Any questions so far up to this point?
No, I like everything that's being said, Shane. It's really smooth. It's really good, and I can tell you, I worked for Lincoln Heritage for a little bit, and we had this similar thing. But to be able to lock these prices in, that is the cherry on top. That's normally where I feel people are going to say, okay, so how can I get this?
Exactly.
From that point, if you present it correctly and just don't give them information to look at, you talk them through it. I think.
And remember, you got to say this stuff enthusiastically. You get what I'm saying? I mean, you guys see me on a webinar.
Oh,
My
yeah.
hands are moving, right? I mean, listen, when I'm in a house, you got to say this with passion, like that you actually believe in what the world you're talking about. Because if not, if you're just like, Dave, we got legacy, and legacy is going to save you money. Okay. So that's what I have to tell you about that. That's boring. But if you do the presentation the way I showed you, and you go through those bullet points and you write down their information and you know what they're looking for, you know they want to be buried, you hit them with those little taglines in between that we said, and you're making them tell you how much things are. If you do that right and you get to the end, they should be biting at the lip trying to figure out how much is this,
Yeah.
So,
exactly.
But yeah, so that's it there. So next, anybody else have any questions on the presentation they're going through or why we set it up that way? All right. So now, let's just say you did that presentation, you get to the end. Now, normally, if you didn't have this presentation that I just showed you, because this isn't a senior life presentation, this is an R presentation thing, you would have just went into the Slice app and opened it up and started qualifying them and just worked right through the app. Okay. And you can do that. All right. But if you do the presentation the way I showed you, verify their information, go through, qualify them, make sure they have a bank account, do everything on the education. And when you get to the end now that you go over legacy and they say, how much is this going to cost? Or if they don't ask you that and you say, okay, now, does that all make sense? You see how that's going to help your family? Yes. Okay. Well, what I'm going to do now, Dave, is I'm going to go ahead and get you a couple packages together to see which one's going to help you out the best. Okay. So now is when I pull open my Slice app and start to go into qualify them. All right. And remember, on my worksheet, I pretty much have all the information I need. So when I first go in into the application, I'm going to click this blue button right here. It says application. Okay. Now, before I get into the application, I'm going to show you guys a few navigational things. Applications, pending business, under construction, notifications and documents, and then field presentation. So when you go into under construction, which is going to be this red button right here on the right, the top right, the red one, under construction is once you submit a policy. If you have one that's temporarily in the middle that you haven't submitted, it's going to go under incomplete. Where it says household members legacy, under the legacy, I'm going to show you guys how to do that, but this is where the legacy members are going to pop up. And then if you already have this one app, hang on one second. All right, sorry guys, I had to mute somebody out there. So when you guys get to this part, if you had one client and you just hit submit and make sure you go into look at transmission status. Remember, you do have to be online in order to submit it. You do not have to be online to write the app. But if you are going to be offline, let's say you have an iPad that does not have service on it, make sure you log into your app when you have Wi-Fi. So if you don't have Wi-Fi at home, stop at McDonald's or something and sign in and get on the Wi-Fi, and then just don't sign out until you get home, and then you can upload all your business. You want to make sure that under transmission status that it says sent. Okay, you want to make sure it says sent. Now that's under construction. Now the next part is going to be notifications and documents. This is where you're going to look up the Scoop magazine for anybody that wants to read up for our monthly magazine that we send out to everybody each month. Any motivational videos, incentives for our incentives trips, video flyer that we have. This is where you can look and view your agent manual and any updates that we do. if you need a quick rate chart, guys, in case your Slice app is down or something, you don't have service and you can't pull your Slice up, you can pull up quick rates, and you can pull up the rates with ADB, and you're just gonna have to go and manually pull up a rate for this person. And then it's also going to give you a whole guide for Slice at the bottom. So next, now going from the end of the presentation, you're going to say what? Okay, great. I'm going to go ahead and get a couple packages here together for you guys. Now, Joe, I have your first name down here as Joe. Do you go by Joe, or is your profession, Joseph? You're going to put in their last name. All this information, guys, you should have from the time that you first started pre-qualifying them. Go ahead and put all this information in. The next part is if you already have all their information, right? Because you've already asked them on the worksheet, are you a smoker? Are you a non-smoker? Whatever it may be, you don't have to ask them again, right? Use common sense here and just go through and click no, 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 right? Because you've already asked them all these questions. You've already asked them all the health questions, so you know that these are all no or yes or whatever you asked them. You already know that by writing them down on the worksheet. Do they have any serious health problems? You should already know that because you've already circled that on the worksheet. So very quickly go through and just don't ask them twice. Don't ask them once on the worksheet and then once here. Just go through. It's going to make you go through the Slice application very quickly. Go down through, no, no, no. You can mark them all off. If they have ever had something, yes, click yes. If they do click yes, it'll ask how long in the past 2 years, whatever it may be. Okay. Next, if they take any medications, it's going to come up height, weight. Now, on the worksheet, I am going to update the worksheet, guys. I'm going to update the worksheet to where on the worksheet, it's going to have height, weight, just in case you need to mark that down. In person, I forgot to put it down on the worksheet just because in person, I'm going to know by looking at you sitting across the table if I need to know height and weight. You get what I mean? It's going to be a little obvious. But on the phone, if you're doing a telesale or something, if you forget to ask that and you offer them super preferred, then you get to the app at the end and you say, okay, well, Dave, what was your weight again? Height and weight? 5'5", 555 pounds. Oh, man. You just went from super preferred to guaranteed issue. You just lost the sale because nobody's going to go from paying $30 a month for $12,000 down to $70 a month for $4,000. You know what I'm saying? But unfortunately, you didn't ask them height and weight. So you got to make sure in the beginning you ask them height and weight. And then you want to go through the medications. Once you select these medications, you go in here to medications, guys. Let's say you pick Adderall here at the bottom of the list. When you click Adderall, it's going to come in. If it's not listed, do you see where that red arrow is up on the top left? Make sure you go in there and you're going to put any non-listed medications in their usages so that way you don't get kickback from underwriting. Okay. But let's say this person's on Adderall. They go in an Adderall. It could be for ADD or it could be for narcolepsy. You need to put the usage down because the usage is going to matter. Okay. Bear with me. I'm going to drink water. All right. So if their usage may matter because, for instance, if they're taking a Tylenol might be for their blood pressure or it might be for their heart. Well, the reason you need to know that is they might be completely healthy, but if you don't know that the Tylenol was for the heart, then you're going to miss up on the underwriting. So in the beginning on the worksheet, that's why when they say, well, I'm on lisinopril. Okay, what's that for? Is that for your blood pressure? Yes. All right, I'm on simvastatin. What's that for? Your cholesterol. Make sure you write that down so when you get into here, you can just click, lisinopril, high blood pressure, simvastatin, cholesterol, whatever it may be, and just go down through. Just make sure you put all their medications in. If there is a medication here, medication may knock them out of standard or preferred. So like I said, if they're on, a blood thinner, that might automatically put them to guaranteed issue. If you click blood thinner stroke on here, it'll automatically kick them out. So when you get to the next screen, let's say this person was a non-smoker. If this person was a non-smoker and had no health problems, do you see, guys, how it's going to give you a list of products to offer? It's going to say they're basically qualified for everything from ultimate preferred down to guaranteed issue. So if this person was a non-smoker, was taking no medication, and has never had a health issue in their life, Dave, what, or anybody really, what would you write them? That's what I want to know for everybody. What would you write them? Anybody can answer this. No smoking, never had a health problem in their entire life, and they've never been on a medication.
Preferred. Possibly super preferred.
Okay. What else?
Well, ultimate would only be if you're in competition with another carrier where you're trying to
Yes.
beat a price.
Yes, thank you. Because here's what I don't want you to do. If everybody goes on here and clicks ultimate every time this pops up, it might be the difference between getting paid 20% commission versus 80 or 70 or 60. You get what I'm saying? So please, 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 if they do qualify and they've never had a medication, just click super preferred. You know what I mean? Because it's not going to change their monthly rate that much. You're only talking about $4 or $5 difference. But make sure you put them on super preferred or preferred. Super preferred and preferred, which we'll go over later, is going to be the same commission amount, so it doesn't really matter. So if they do qualify for super preferred, put them on super preferred. Okay. But this is going to give you a list. So remember I said if they may qualify for preferred, but you might want to write them standard, this is where you can override that. So yes, they qualify for preferred or super right here based upon the data we put in, but you might write them standard because they're on 5 high blood pressure medicines. You follow me on that? Now, if you want to try to put them through preferred, I would let them know this. I would say, listen, Dave, I'm going to try to push this through for you preferred. I'm really not sure if they're going to, get it. More likely it's going to go standard, but I really want to try to help you out here, Dave. I'm going to go ahead and put this through preferred, but if not, we're just going to write it up standard, okay? And when they say yes, you've already overcame if it's going to get rated down the road. See, so I'm going to try to get this preferred for you. We're going to send it in like this, but if not, it's going to be standard. Okay. Okay, that's fine. But we're going to try to push it through this way. Make sure you go over that. So when it doesn't, just give them a call and just say, hey, Dave, remember when we talked about maybe we tried to push that through? We were right. It wasn't going to go through, but I did try to do that for you. But anyway, we're just going to submit this thing regular through standard. Okay. And I'll give you a call later and let you know what that little bit of a price difference will be. See what I mean? And then you just give them a call back and update the policy pricing, and that's it. Okay. So let's say you clicked Smoker in the beginning of the Slice app. Okay. If you click Smoker in the beginning, it's automatically only going to pull up these. That's it. It's only going to pull up the products. Okay. So you're going to want to make sure that you understand that if you're going through the Slice app and you already know their standard, just click Smoker and you're already going to know their standard. All right. Next, this is when you select which one you're going to go with. It's going to pull up 3, always between $50 and $80 a month. Okay. Now, depending on what their age is and their health and what product, is going to pull up the different coverage amounts. It's always going to show Legacy Assurance and ADB. So for you guys at Legacy Assurance, it is $3 extra. So you see where it says Legacy Assurance is a separate entity from Senior Life. Memberships will be $3 separate. You don't have to explain that to them right now. Right now, it'll automatically click Legacy and it'll automatically include ADB. So the prices that are shown are the total price. So I don't go over the difference in the pricing until after. So at this point, I would say, okay, Dave, I got you 3 different packages here together. The first one's going to be our bronze package, our entry level. It's going to be $10,000 in accidental, $10,000 in natural. That one's only going to be $54.30 a month. Now remember, every one of these packages, Dave, is going to include that legacy that we spoke about earlier. The next option is our silver program, $13,500. Also going to have $13,500 in accidental. That one's only $71.18 per month. And then the last one here is our gold program, Dave. This one's going to cover all of your funeral expenses, any cremation, plus leave a lot more money left over to the family. Now this one here is only going to be $15,500, and it's only going to be $80.83 a month. Now, Dave, out of those 3, which one? And yes, it does include the accidental, Carl. But which one of these 3, Dave, are going to be, the best for you and your family? Still with me, Dave? Nope. All right. So once they answer, let's say they answer yes. You know what? I'll take the 13,500. Then that's easy. You just hit select, and if you go, or let's say they say, well, do you have anything more than 15,000? then you can say yes, hit custom, and when the custom screen comes up, it's going to come up and you can select the amount for the custom. You can scroll down to 20,000, whatever it may be, and it'll pull up a fourth option to the right of option 3. Okay. Now, let's say you get rebuttaled here. I need somebody to go back and forth with me here so I can pull up and show you this rebuttal. Monique, are you still on there? I see you on the call. Are you on here? No? Anybody else? Who wants to get on here and go back and forth?
Well, I'm on Martha, but I can't see. I'm on my phone.
Oh, that's
Can't
okay.
see the. Oh,
That's
okay.
all right. We'll go over here back and forth. All right, Martha. So let's say, Martha, we get down here and we get to the end and you're going to hit me with a rebuttal, right? What do you think the typical rebuttal is at this point, right? So if you did your job correctly and I get down here and I hand you these 3 options and I say, now, Martha, out of these 3, which one of these is going to help your family out the best?
Well, I think they have the same amounts, right? The same
Well, no.
coverages.
The same coverages, no, one's 10,000, one's 13, and one's 15, right? But at this
Well,
point, right, Martha, which one's going to help you out the best?
The 15,000.
All right, so what is your normal rebuttal going to be? If somebody was rebuttaling you, what's it going to be? Mostly, I can't afford it, right?
I can't afford, right.
All right, so let's just say you get to this point and you say, well, none of these. I can't afford none of these policies. Okay, so we'll go off of that, right? So I would say, Martha, out of these 3, which one of these is going to help your family out the best?
Well, I can't afford either one of them.
Okay, so what I'm going to do, guys, is at this point, I'm going to ask them this. I'm going to say, Martha, well, let me ask you a question. Listen, don't get alarmed here. This is just what they recommend for you. The biggest thing we got to do is we got to make sure we get you covered, okay? We got to make sure that your coverage is in place because right now you said you have no coverage, right? And the reason you did this, Martha, was because you said you called into our commercial because you didn't want to leave your daughter or your son left over with this debt. Is that right?
That's true.
Okay, so you know your budget better than I do. Let me ask you a question. Out of these 3, which one did you like the best?
Well, I like the $15,000 one best.
Okay. Which one do you feel would be the best in your budget? You know your budget better than I do. You said none of these are going to help. You can't afford none of them right now? Not even the 10,000?
I really can't afford. I thought the prices were going to be less than they are.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this then. Because you know your budget better than I do, out of this $54.30 per month, okay, if that's a little bit unaffordable for you right now, but we know we need to get you covered today, how much of that $54 a month can you afford? What do you know that you know your budget? What can you afford no matter what?
I can only afford about $28 a month.
$28 a month?
Yes, about that.
Okay. Let me take a look here and see what I have. I'm going to take a look here. It looks like here, Ms. Martha, what I have here, here's what we're going to do, okay? We know you need the coverage. I have a plan here. It's going to be $6,000 in coverage. You said you want buried. We're still going to be able to knock out the burial because of how much money we're saving you in legacy by saving you the discounts. So it's still going to come with $6,000 in accidental, $6,000 in natural. Now that one there is only going to be $32.19. Okay. Now, because this is for your final expenses, Ms. Martha, who would be the beneficiary on that? Would that be your son or your daughter as the first one?
It would be actually both.
Okay, both.
50%.
Now, guys, here's what I did here, right? So we came up with this close a couple years back. One of my agents were in the field. There's all kind of different rebuttals you can do, and your upline will probably have some more that'll help you out as well. But every time I was in training an agent, when they didn't close it and they would be at the end of it, I would let them go all the way to they couldn't rebuttal it no more. And then I would just step in and be like, listen, Martha, let me ask you a question. Out of this $54, you know your budget better than I do. How much could you afford out of that? And as soon as they say about $28, what did that client just tell me?
And that they had needed a reduction in coverage.
That's it. And they just said, I'm buying as long as you have something for $28, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we just overcome the rebuttal, they just said, yes, I'm buying. And then I call this the here's what we're going to do close, right? Because when after we closed like an extra 15 closes for the week, and it was at the end of his presentation where he couldn't get the sale, he would keep coming in and say, hey, can you teach me that close you do at the end? I'm like, what close are you talking about? He's like, the one where you keep telling them this is what we're going to do. So I didn't even know I was doing it. We just kind of came into it. But I've now replaced just about every other rebuttal with just this one simple one. So I try to close them on option 1 through 3 no matter what. If they rebuttal me and say all of them are too expensive, I still try to close them on 10,000. If I just cannot close them on 10,000, then I'm going to come back and say, okay, Martha, out of this $54, how much can you afford? And when you say $28, I'm all right, let me take a look and see what we can do here for you because we need to get you covered. They say, okay. Then you go in and you pull up. Now you come back and say, okay, Miss Martha, here's what we're going to do. You got to kind of take the reins here. You got to kind of take the indecision out of them. They need this coverage more than you need the commission and me need to sell it. So I'm going to come back and say, here's what we're going to do. Go over it, 6,000 in coverage. You're still going to get the legacy. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to set you up with the 6,000. And if anything changes down the road, Ms. Martha, and you can get this extra 4,000 in coverage, I'm going to be your life insurance agent forever. We'll go ahead and get this locked in for you now, and we'll add the coverage on later. But because this is for your final expenses, this is only $32 a month. Who's your main beneficiary going to be? And go right to the app. Is this going to be your son or your daughter? Right?
Yeah.
Now, once they say that, now you're going to go into the app, right? So now you're going to be in the app and say, okay, Miss Martha, now how do you spell your first name? Now, I'm not an idiot. I know how to spell Martha, right? But I'm going to ask them because the more you can get them to answer you, the more engaged they're going to be. So I'm going to say, okay, Miss Martha, now, is your first name Martha?
Yes.
Okay, and your middle name?
I don't use a middle name.
Okay, so no middle name. And last name, is it just, how do you spell your last name?
Herring, like the fish.
Just like the fish.
Herring.
All right, so guys, when you start making them recite it back to you, think about this. They're confirming they're buying. Okay. Now, when I get down, I don't go over social next because sometimes when you ask for somebody's social right off the bat, they get a little hairy. So, first question I'm going to ask him is, now, Ms. Martha, since this is for your life insurance, the policy to be mailed to, you want it mailed to this address right here, the one you wrote down? Yes. Okay, great. So they write it down. I type in the address, city, and what's the zip code here? All right, 16601. And the best number to you be reached at, Ms. Martha, is this the home number or the cell phone?
The cell phone.
Cell phone. All right, perfect. I got the cell phone down here. And do you use an email address?
No.
Okay. So if you don't use an email address, guys, see how there's a star there? You get the star. You just put na@gmail.com, just so you have to fill something in there, and then just say, what is your birth date again? All right, put their birth date in. And here's another thing that I do. And can you do for security purposes, Ms. Jones, can you go ahead and verify your social for me? All right. So now what you do is you verify their social. When you say, can you just verify your social, in their head, they feel like they've already given it to you. You know what I mean? They feel like they've already given you the social and they just mark it in. Once you get that, now you're the legacy. Now, let's say you're writing up the wife. Okay, let's say I'm writing you up, Martha, but I'm not writing your husband up. I'm going to click yes to add them to legacy. I'm going to add them as a member because one $3 charge covers everybody in the household. Okay, so, but let's say I am writing up you and your husband. Whoever I'm going to write up first. And when I write up yes for the husband, at the end, when you get to under construction or incomplete applications, it's going to come up and say under your pending, are you writing a policy for Joe Herring? If that answer is no, then you click no and it'll automatically submit Martha. But if it is yes, you want to click yes, and it will automatically tie the two policies together. You do not want to go back in and set up a separate policy. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Because if not, it's going to charge them two different legacies. Okay. Now, here's where they're going to get your store credits. If they refer to anybody, here's where you're going to ask them for referrals. Get your referrals here and say, listen, guys, we can get up to $100 off your casket. You know, you want to, who do you want to put down first? And then each one gives them a $25 store credit. So that's legacy. punch into people's information right here in the fields, and then you can go down. Okay. Now, under the next section, see here where we go into under construction. Now, let's say we've filled out Martha's policy. We go down through and we fill it all out, and now we submit it. When we hit submit, it doesn't submit it yet unless there's no legacy memberships. If there's somebody under the legacy, so let's say we wrote Martha, and now we're going to go write her husband. We're going to go into under construction, and then see under here where it says legacy household members, guys. Let's say it said Joe Herring. Now see here it says create policy. Are you writing a policy for Joe? If you click yes, it's automatically going to tie Martha and Joe together. If you click no, it'll automatically send it down to transmission status as sent. Okay. Any questions on that? Okay, I'm going to assume no. All right. Any questions on closing, rebuttals, solidification? Now, solidification, does anyone know what solidification is? Somebody tell me, what is solidification to you?
Restating the benefits.
Yeah,
and
you're
the
exactly
premiums.
right. Yep,
Yeah.
you want to make sure this is comfortable for them. So here's what I tell people. At the end of it, if you don't do this and you just grab the check and roll out, you have a pretty good chance of this person canceling because they might get buyer's remorse. So you want to solidify, and we call it salting down the policy. So when you solidify at the end, I'm going to say, Miss Martha, I want to congratulate you today getting this taken care of, okay, for your son or your daughter, making sure that, this is going to be taken care of so that they don't have to worry about what's going to happen. But I need you to make me a promise, okay? We're going to make a promise to you today that we're going to be there at the worst day of your family's life to make sure that we're there to take care of their benefits. But I need you to make me a promise. Can you make me a promise today? All right. I want you to make me a promise that you seem like a woman of your word. I'm a man of my word, and the company's going to be there to take care of things. But I need you to shake my hand today and look me in the eye and tell me you promise me you're going to keep this policy in force. Because it makes no sense to get this today if you can't make sure that it's going to be there to your family. Because if you don't keep this in force, it's not going to help your family at all. So can you promise me today that no matter what comes up, because listen, this is not a bill. Okay, I know it may feel like another bill. This is a financial investment in your family's future. Your water bill is a bill, your cable bill is a bill. But here's the thing about bills. Martha, if you get behind on your cable bill, you can always pay an extra payment, and your cable bill is going to be the same price next month. If you cancel his life insurance policy after having it 4 or 5 years, guess what's going to happen? Number one, you might not be able to qualify for it again, or even worse, it could be double in price. Okay, so can you promise me today that you're going to keep this in force?
Well, as long as I can, I need to ask you one question.
Yeah.
Do you offer waiver of premium?
Yes. Wait, the waiver of premium? No, we don't have the waiver of premium as per se, but what we do have, we had what's it called? Accelerated. I'm trying to think of what we have. We have an accelerated benefit, so that way basically if for any reason your policy cancels, it'll borrow the cash value and it'll keep your policy in force. So if you have $1,000 in cash value in your policy, it's going to keep your policy going until it runs out of cash value so we don't lose your policy. Okay? But let me ask you a question, Martha. The premium, you can definitely afford this $80 today? It's not going to be a problem?
The $32.19, yes.
$32, I'm sorry, $32. $32.19,
Yeah.
you can definitely afford that. It's not going to be a problem every month.
No, it will
Okay.
not be.
Here's what I want you to do, Martha. If for any reason this ever becomes a problem, I'm going to put my business card up here on your refrigerator. I see you like magnets. I want you to make sure you give me a call first before you decide to cancel this policy or make any changes. And if any other agent calls you that's not me or not Senior Life and wants you to change anything, will you promise you'll give me a call first?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Perfect. That's what we need to do. So, guys, that's solidification. We want to make sure that they understand that you want to solidify it. If they say, well, I'll try it this month, we'll see what happens, please don't write that policy. Change the pricing now to make sure it's affordable for them before you move on, because it might sound good to get paid a quick commission, but it ain't going to help them if they cancel it. It ain't going to help you to get a chargeback. So, any questions, guys, on the presentation in the Slice app? No? All right. Let's move forward here. We're going to go over this, and we're going to take a quick break, and we'll come back and jump on phone training, and then we'll be done for the day. So this next part here, guys, now this is just an example. This is the example that they use in the agent manual. So everybody's going to come in and they're going to have a different commission rate depending on how long you've been in the business or what type of business you produce, or you're going to keep getting promoted up. But I'm just going to give you an example on commissions and how it works. Now remember, when you submit an app through Slice, if you got a check dated for today, the Slice app is going to, as long as you submit it before 3 o'clock and you got a live check, then that app is going to be submitted today, go in your advance report today at 4:30, and be in your bank account tomorrow morning. Okay, but let's just use an example of annual premium. So if you write a policy up for about $80 a month, it'll be roughly about $1,000 annually, $1,000 annual premium. So let's just say you're at an 80% commission. The company owes you $80 to $800 for the year for your first year commission. Now, out of here, if you guys select, I always say select the 60% in advance option. We have two different options. We have 60% and 75. 99% of my agents for the last 5 years have always picked 60% with no immediate chargebacks. That means if you do get a chargeback that anybody cancels in the first 6 months, it does not come out of your front end commissions. Okay, it does not come out of your front end commissions. It'll come out of your back end. It'll come out of your pay through and your renewals. So let's just say out of that $800 that they owe you for the year, they're going to pay you 60% of that up front tomorrow. So if you write a policy for $1,000, they're roughly going to be paying you about half that up front, okay, or a little bit less. All right. Now, if you write a term policy, all right, see how it says here, check amount does not include policy fees or legacy. So if you write a policy for $1,000 annual premium and legacy is $3, they're not going to pay you that, for the legacy, for the 36 annual premium, or for the policy fee. The policy fee is $36. So I always just assume 64 annual premium. You're going to get paid $932 annual premium instead of $1,000. So just always keep that in mind when you're figuring out your numbers. Next is going to be your paid as earned. Anything you may get paid as earned on would be any policies where you have insufficient funds 2 more times. So if you see an NSF, you give the customer a call, say, Miss Mary, I need you to make sure you get that money in there, because if it happens twice, they may not be able to cover you. They may decline your coverage. If you have a previous lapsed policy or a canceled policy or multiple NSF applications, then they're going to pay it as earned because they're protecting you from a chargeback. Okay. So if you have somebody that had a policy a year ago and canceled their policy once or twice, then they're not going to pay you in advance. They're still going to pay you as earned for the year. They're just going to pay your $800 divided up over the next 12 months. Okay. If you have a new account, or you have somebody that, like me, I don't use a lot of checks, so I still have, let's say, a starter check, let's just say. If they have a starter check, and even though you're collecting a live check for today, if you pay it with a brand new starter check, they're not going to issue that business as advance. So if you do have one, this person had an account for 5 years, they just never use checks, just put it through as an initial withdrawal instead of putting it through as a live check. So just put in the account routing number instead of the starter check. Okay, that way you don't have to worry about getting paid as earned. Controlled business, family, friends, any previous clients that you are swaying them to go and cancel their policy, something like that. Any influence you have, something like that. Let's see. And then you guys can kind of read through these in the agent manual. I'm not going to go over it too hard and beat up your ear for paid as earned. Just kind of look through so that way you guys aren't thrown off. monthly pay through after you guys get through about 7 or 8 months of clients paying. If you write somebody in January, by the time you get to July and August, they've already paid in their 6 months, 7 months of what they paid you in advance. So at that point, you're going to start receiving monthly renewals on your business, and that'll be on your commission statement. For further information on that, make sure you go to your upline. They'll explain that to you a little bit more in person. Again, chargebacks, anything charged back in the first 6 months, that's going to go back on your chargeback repayment system, and that's going to be on your back end. And then persistency, you want to make sure you have about a 72.5% persistency for renewals. Okay, make sure you guys get a 72% persistency for renewals. And lastly, value-added policies. What is a value-added policy? A value-added policy is any policy that has legacy attached to it. So for me, legacy is not an option for my clients. I go ahead and put legacy down on every one. Remember, they're just getting everything in one package. So they're getting legacy, they're getting the policy, they're getting accidental, and it's all for $55.99. They're getting it all as one package. So if you guys take a look at this agent schedule, each one of you should have got this in an email. When you accepted your commission through your upline, whatever your commission level is going to be on your commission schedule. Remember, this is just an example. So if you're on a 60, 65, 70, 75, whatever your starting commission is, make sure you look at your schedule. So for instance, if you write preferred or super preferred, in this case, let's say agent A is at 80%, then they're going to get an 80%. If you write it with no legacy, they're going to pay 60%. You guys see that? Oh, hang on. Do you guys all see that there? So make sure that when it says value-added product, that's any policy sold with legacy. So if you're writing preferred and super preferred, you get whatever your top level commission is. When you write term, a 20-year term, it's whatever your top level commission is. If you write standard, there's going to be a 15% difference in your commission. That's going to be 65% on an 80% contract. It's just 15% of whatever you're at. So if you're at 70% commission, it's going to drop it down to 15% less than that, 55%. If you're writing guaranteed issue is going to drop down what? From 80, would that be 45%? So 45% less on guaranteed issue. The reason being is the company's taking a huge risk by writing people up with AIDS and HIV and in nursing homes and everything else. So remember, every other company in the world pays you as earned. We're one of the only ones I know that do it below 40 and also pay an advance and pay renewals. Look, they're paying a high level renewals, 5% renewals on this contract. So make sure you guys understand that. And then term, if you write a return of premium term, it's going to be, 25% instead of 80. So make sure you guys understand your commission schedule. If you have any questions, make sure you get with your upline. They're going to go over that. Any questions on the commission schedule and understanding that different products have different commission levels? And the reason I'm telling you that is, please make sure that if you're going through and you get paid on the policy, don't freak out if it was $100 less than what you thought. You might have forgot what you wrote it. You might have forgot that you wrote standard instead of preferred. So just remember to try to figure that out and calculate that on your advance reports. Okay. Any questions so far?
Yeah, just one quick question.
Well, we were writing the policy back there. My phone's giving me trouble. Can you hear me?
Yeah, Dave, I can hear you. Hang on one second. We got somebody else asking a question. I'll come right back to you.
Yeah, just about collecting the first month premium. You didn't really even mention that at all during your presentation when you're there.
Okay.
I mean, you just, so what, when are you asking? You're just asking for a check, or you trying to get them on you want it to be automatically taken out of their checking account? I mean, you didn't really mention the payments.
I'm glad you brought that up because I did completely forget. I skipped right past that. So, all right. So when we're down to the slice and we're down to the point where they're asking for 3 different ones, when you get to the next screen, when you click through their application, it's going to come up to the payment screen. Okay. So one of the first things that I do is I instead of going right to the check or whatever I'm going to ask, I'm going to come up and say, now let me ask you a question. Just like everything else, this is going to come due one time each month. Now, do you get paid on the first or the third? Right? So once they say, I get paid the first, if they say, well, can I have this come out on the 5th? I say, well, no, what we do is we work with the hand in hand with the Social Security schedule. Now, did you say you got paid the first, right? Yeah. Then we just put it on the first. We just go and coincide with Social Security. So once I say, do we, just like everything else, this comes due one time each month, then I go there first. Now, once I get to there, I'm gonna tell them this. I'm gonna say, now I got a few other things I got to punch in here to complete your application. So can you do me a favor? Can you go ahead and get whatever information you're gonna need to make that first premium payment? And when I say, go ahead and get whatever you need, a lot of times they'll come back and say, well, what are you saying? Do you need my debit card? I would say no. We just need whatever way you make a payment. You can do a check for your first premium payment. Oh, okay. So you just need me to write a check out. Yep. Then they'll go ahead and grab it. They shouldn't rebuttal you too much if you did your job the right way throughout the presentation, but that's kind of how I go into getting the check. I go in and just say, now, just like everything else, this comes due one time each month. Now, did you say you get paid the first or the third? They say the first. Okay, great. I select the first. Now, if you are getting a live check on the slice, you're going to go in and click, are you collecting live check? You're going to click yes. And when you click yes that you're collecting a live check, it is going to ask you to take a picture of the check. So fill out the check, date it for today, take a picture of the check. Now, after you take a picture of the check, please make sure before you advance to the next screen that the check date and the reoccurring charge date add up. Today's check date might be different than next month, but make sure it didn't flip back. So if you selected the third, after you take a picture of the check, make sure it didn't click back to the first, because then you're going to have a lot of people kind of aggravated that their policy came through and overdrafted their account. Okay. So does that kind of answer your question?
Yeah. What about, someone gets Social Security, like say the second Wednesday of the month, something like that. So that date is not exact.
Yeah, that you're going to have to figure out with them. I would pull up a calendar and I would look at a few months here back and forth and say, okay, it looks like here, the second Wednesday of every month here is always following after the 15th of the month. You know what I mean? It looks like the 12th one month, the 14th the next month, and so on. So I would say we just put this here at the 15th. That would probably give you enough time to make sure it's always in. Yes. Okay, great. And if this ever changes and you need to see down the road 3, 4, 5 months from now that you need to change it, please just give me a call and we'll change your due date.
Okay.
So that's what I would do there. Thanks for reminding me about that. I completely somehow skipped over that just because I guess for me, when I get to that part, if I did my proactive presentation the correct way, there's usually never a hiccup when it comes down to getting a check. Usually people just kind of already assume to get it, but I need to go over that. So thank you. I appreciate that. What else? Dave, did you have a question? Or were you just wanting to know if we can hear you? Dave's not there. All right.
Yeah, and well, also there's three different. When does it automatically come up with the
three choices in the Slice app, Dave? Is that what you're asking? Dave, you're breaking up over there. So maybe when we come back, maybe try to restart your computer and maybe we can answer that, or I'll give you my number. You can shoot me a call afterwards. All right. I'll message you on here, my phone number. We can answer that afterwards if I can't hear you. So, guys, let me ask you all a question. Would you want to take a break right now? We only got maybe another half hour or so of going over a phone script. Would you rather just run right through it and be done, or does anyone need to take a break?
Let's run through it for me.
All right, that's one.
Run through.
Run through two. Who else we got?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Run through or not run through? Who else? Anybody else? Give me one or two more, and that'll be the average.
And there.
I think Dave said run through.
Yeah, let's go. Run.
All right, we're running through.
Run through.
All right, perfect. I like that. I just want to make sure everybody's different, have a little bladders. I want to make sure everybody's good. All right, guys, next, phone script. Very important. Remember I told you the close starts on the script. So your close is going to start from the time you get this person on the phone. If you're not proactively closing these people from the phone, you're missing the boat. So you want to make sure from the phone script you already close them. So one of the biggest things for me, guys, is this phone script. Like I said, your upline may have a phone script they want you to use. If you do, great, perfect, use it. I'm just going to give you the nuts and bolts of what I've found to help me out. Phone script for me, the shorter the better. Get in the house, create activity, make some money, make some sales. So I'm going to break this down of why I say certain things. If you haven't noticed yet, the things that I teach, I'm not only going to teach you to do it, but I'm going to teach you why I do it. Everything that I've ever done, any script or any presentation, I do every single sentence for a reason. There's not a way that I don't do it for any reason. So I'm going to go through here and we're going to break this thing down. Okay. So who wants to go through and be my partner here so we can go back and forth? Somebody that I can hear clear, somebody that hasn't gone yet. Who are we going to get? Or I'm going to call you out and we'll do it anyway. Who wants to be a caller?
Well, this is Carl. I'll do it again.
All right, Carl, thanks for attending, man. I appreciate it. All right, so what we're going to do is go through some of these different ones here, right? So in the beginning, the first two sentences, you need to be enthusiastic as hell. You need to make sure that, you're calling into somebody's dark world. They might be having a bad day. Who knows? So you need to be enthusiastic and you need to be kind of, straight to the point. So, when I call, no matter what their name is, please don't call and sound like a telemarketer. Don't call them and say, hey, is this Thomas? Hey, Thomas, my name is Shane Burns. I'm with the Senior Care Plan, and be monotone and boring, right? So, Carl, I'm just going to role play back and forth, and we'll stop at each one and we'll explain things. So, as soon as I call and you answer, you're hello, right? So, ring.
Hello.
Hey, Carl.
Yes.
Hey, Carl, this is Shane with the Senior Care Plan. I was just getting back to you because a little while ago you actually responded to one of our flyers about our final expense life insurance programs. Now, were you looking to apply for this information or for yourself or for somebody else in the family?
Yeah, I was interested in myself.
Okay. So, guys, you see the first paragraph. The only time you're going to stop on any script is when there's a question mark. So, if I say, hey, Carl, I assume that it's him, because if it isn't him, he's going to say, no, this is Joe. Carl's my brother. Oh, it's Carl in. This is Shane with the Senior Care Plan, just giving him a call back, right? So you want to assume that if it's Carl, and I say, hey, Carl, and he'd be like, yeah, who's this? Hey, Carl, this is Shane with the Senior Care Plan. I was just getting back to you because a little while ago you responded to one of our flyers about our final expense life insurance programs. Now, you could either say, now, were you looking into this information for you or someone else? I like to say, now, were you looking to apply for this coverage for yourself or somebody else in the family? I assume the sale right from the beginning. So if he says, well, it's for me. Oh, okay. Don't pause and wait for them to remember the flyer. So if you say, hey, this is Shane with the Senior Care Plan, don't pause and just wait for their response. You're not pausing until this question mark. So it'll be, hey, this is Shane with the Senior Care Plan. I was just getting back to you because a little while ago, you actually responded to one of our flyers about our final expense life insurance programs. Now, were you looking at this for yourself or for somebody else in the family? Now, you don't have to say it as fast as I did, but you do need to pronunciate your words very clear because not, especially seniors, I'm speaking a little faster because I'm hopped up on a bunch of caffeine, especially if you're making calls at 8, 9 in the morning. I might have already had 2 or 3 cups of coffee in me. So, you got to learn to kind of take a breath and slow down. Okay. So when you get to the next part, they say, well, yeah, this is for me. All right. So, Carl, we'll go off of this is for me. All right, you were looking for yourself. I would say, okay, great. Well, Carl, I just need to verify some of the information that you put down here. Now, you put your address down here as 123 Appleby Lane. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right, and that's in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and it looks like your zip code is 16601.
15210. No, I'm kidding. I'm actually from
15210.
Pittsburgh.
I know, I can tell by you.
I live in Florida, but I'm actually from Pittsburgh, so that was a good guess.
There you go. No, it's 151's actually a zip code up there. What part of Florida are you in?
I'm in Northport, Florida.
Northport, Florida. All right, perfect. Well, now where you're living in Florida, are you in a house or an apartment?
I'm in a house.
In a house. All right, perfect. And cell phone, is this a house phone that I called you on, or do you have a secondary number I could write down here?
This is a cell phone.
All right, guys, look, as soon as you verify it, now I would say, Carl, now since this is full first day coverage, listen, I can't do much over the phone. I do come out and visit with you in person. Should only take about 10 or 15 minutes. And what I'll do is work up some programs to see which one's going to help your family the best, okay? So I'm going to be in your area tomorrow. Are mornings or afternoons better for you?
Mornings.
All right. So guys, see here, I'm basically, once I verify their information is correct, once I verify it's for them, I'm going to say, okay, now since this is full first day coverage, I can't do much more over the phone. I do come out and visit with you in person. Should only take about 10 or 15 minutes. I'm basically saying what? Not a big deal again, right? It's only going to take about 10 or 15 minutes, depending on how many questions you have. And what I'm going to do, Carl, is work up some programs to see which one's going to help your family out the most. Now, you see, I'm not making a question mark here. I'm going to go right into, I'm going to be in your area tomorrow. Now, Carl, are mornings or afternoons better for you?
Mornings.
Mornings. All right, perfect. I'm a morning person too. Well, I'm pretty booked up here. They have me pretty busy, Carl, so I won't be able to spend that much time with you, but I will get the information out to you. I'm going to be there, it looks like, between, say, Monday is going to be 10 to 11. And if that doesn't work for you, I could probably squeeze you in between 11 and 12 on Tuesday. Which one of those times are going to work better for you?
Yeah, the first one's great.
Okay, and what time do we say? 10 to 11?
10 to 11. Yeah.
10 to 11.
Tomorrow.
All right, perfect. And Carl, listen, you're sure tomorrow works for you, right? You don't got no appointments or no other run around to do, no trips to Lowe's or nothing?
Nope.
All right,
Nope,
perfect.
I'll be here.
All right, because listen, I'm going to be coming all the way from Altoona. Altoona is about 2.5 hours away from you there in Pittsburgh. So if I'm running a little bit longer, any reason I'm running more than a half hour late, I'll give you a call on the way, okay?
Oh, I appreciate that.
All right, great. Now you said again, what time tomorrow you said was going to work for you? 10 to 11, right?
10 to 11.
All right. Now what color is your house? Am I going to see? Is it you said it was a regular house. Any color I'm going to see?
It's like a peach, sort of a peach color, brownish pink, brownish trim.
Brownish trim. Okay. Any vehicles out front that I'll notice? Any cars out front?
Yeah, I got a GMC. I got Terrain, and it's right
Terrain.
in the driveway.
All right. What color is that?
Silver.
Silver. All right. Peach house, brown trim, silver Terrain in the driveway. Got it. All right, man. Well, listen, I'm going to be out there tomorrow. Put it up on your refrigerator. Don't forget that I'm going to be out there for you, and then we'll get this taken care of for you tomorrow. All right, man?
All right. Thank you.
Perfect.
I'll see you
tomorrow. All right, buddy. Thank you. See you tomorrow.
I was easy on you, Shane.
Yeah. All right. Now, be tough on me here. All right. So here.
Let's someone else be tough on you.
All right. Let's just. Who else wants to be tough? Who wants to be the tough person? Who else we got here? Somebody else get on here. Come on.
I'm Martha.
Hey, Martha. All right. You can be tough on me?
I'm going to try.
All right, perfect. Well, let's start it out here. So, and we'll go over and you just hit me with whatever you want, and I'll just keep rebuttaling you. All right. So, and one thing I'm going to teach you guys too is on this script, when you get rebutted, whatever part you get rebutted on, put your pencil down and always have a script printed out. Put your pencil down, whatever you got rebutted on. So if I say, now, were you looking at this for you or somebody else in the family? And you say, well, I'm not interested. Put your pencil down on now you were looking. Because when I hit you with a rebuttal, I'm going to say, okay, anyway, Martha, now were you looking for this for you or somebody else in the family? You have to go back to the script wherever you get rebutted at. All right, so starting out. Ring, ring, you're on hello. Ring, ring.
Hello.
Hey, Martha.
Who's calling?
Hey, Martha, this is Shane with the Senior Care Plan. I'm just getting back to you because a little while ago you actually called into one of our TV commercials about the final expense life insurance benefits. Now, Martha, when you called in, were you looking for this for you or for somebody else in the family?
I don't remember calling in.
Hey, girl, listen, this was probably a couple weeks ago. I probably forget too. This is probably about a week or two ago. Do you remember watching TV and seeing a commercial on TV about the final expense programs, about the high cost of funerals going up these days? This was just a little while ago. But anyway, you called in and you left your information here. It looked like on the caller ID. Let me verify some of this information to make sure I'm on the right person. Now, Martha, you did put your last name down here as Herring. Is that correct? Herring?
Well, that must have been my daughter.
Oh, maybe it was. Okay. Well, she might have done it for you. Well, let me ask you, when she was calling in, she was probably calling in for you. Were you looking for information on some insurance programs, maybe add on a little bit more to what you have or get some more information?
Well, I do have coverage, but maybe she thinks that I should have more.
Okay, well, hey, listen, as us kids, I always think we should have more. I told my dad the other day that he'd get about 40,000 more. I'd get that Dodge Viper I always wanted. You know what I mean? So, no, not that I wish him leaving Earth early, but the more the merrier, I always say. But anyway, most of our members do already have coverage, Martha, I will tell you. But this is for the final expense insurance. This is the cover for just the burial. I'd imagine when you got the other one out, you probably got that to take care of any of your like bills and leave a little money left over to your daughter.
Yes.
Okay, this is just one to cover the final expenses. You'll probably remember it once you see it. But anyway, let me verify what I do have here. So your last name's Herring. Now you also put down here your address as 123 Appleby Lane. Is that still correct?
That's correct.
All right, and that's in looks like Virginia, in Virginia Beach.
Yes.
All right, perfect. How's the weather down there?
Well, it's okay. I just want summer to get here.
Summer. I'm from Pennsylvania. It's 32 degrees up here right now. What's it down there? 70?
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, not far from it.
All right. Well, maybe when it gets to 80, you can, get the, take the socks off and get back out there. But for us, 32 is cold. So anyway, look, I don't want to take your time up here, Martha. This is full first aid coverage, so I can't really do much more over the phone. I do get to come out and visit with you in person. It should only take about 10 or 15 minutes. Listen, it got me really busy out there, so I can't spend too much time with you. But I'll work up some programs and see which one will help you. I'm going to be in the area tomorrow. Are mornings or afternoons better for you?
Well, I have to call my daughter and see because I'd like for her to be with me.
Good. I agree. What is your daughter's name, by the way?
It's Daisy.
Daisy. Okay, that's a nice name. Daisy. Wasn't that on the what was that old TV show? They had Daisy as with the cars, Daisy Dukes.
Yes.
Yeah, as always remember that by that car. So anyway, listen, I want her to be there too. When typically is your daughter usually around that she's usually free that she could stop on over for you?
Well, she works during the day, and I'm just not sure. What I need to do is to call her and give you a call back.
Yeah,
now, you
that's
said
not a
your
problem.
name was Shane, right?
That's right, just like the old cowboy movie. You remember the old cowboy movie?
Yes, I
All
remember
right,
Shane.
right. I only remember the end of it. They say, "Come back, right? Come back." But anyway, listen, Martha. All I do try to do today is it got me really busy. I'm just trying to figure out a good time. So here's what we'll do. I got one time left open each day. I'm going to be out there on Monday and Tuesday. Since evenings you said are better for your daughter, I got one here between 6 and 7 on Monday, and I got one here between 5 and 6 on Tuesday. Let's go ahead and put a tentative time down. I'll put you down here as what we call a bridge. I'm not really sure exactly what time we'll be out there, but we have time between maybe 5 to 7, okay, on Tuesday. And then you give your daughter a call and make sure she can be there, all right, between that time. Which time would work better for you? 5 to 7 on Tuesday or 5 to 7 on Monday?
Right now I'm going to take Tuesday as a tentative because I do need to call her to make certain that she's going to be available. And I'm still going to need to call you back.
Yeah, that's fine. So we'll put you down here between 5 and 7 tomorrow. Remember, my name is Shane. Listen, I'm going to be coming all the way from the other side of the state here. Should take me about 2.5 hours to get there. If I'm running more than a half hour late, Martha, I will give you a call on the way. Now, I'm going to see you tomorrow. Again, you said what time tomorrow? You said 5 to 7?
Between 5 and 7.
Okay. Do me a favor now. Don't forget to call Daisy when we get off the phone. Make sure you don't forget to write down my information again, at what time we're coming, and then make sure she knows to be there, and we'll get this stuff and all this information you requested out to you. All right?
All right.
All right, perfect, Martha. Well, you have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow.
All right. Thank you. You
All right,
too.
perfect. So you see, guys, I just what do you guys notice something that I do on there? Give me some feedback. What do you guys see that I do each rebuttal? You see how I enthusiastically go on to it? Well, I got to talk to my daughter. Oh yeah, what's your daughter's name? Daisy. Oh man, Daisy. I remember that name from the Dukes of Hazzard. Daisy Dukes, right? Do you see how you get into you take their mind and you flip it and you just get them off of the topic of what you were talking about? Because they're trying to rebuttal you and you flip their brain, get them on another topic, and then I'm going to come back and say, Martha, now, anyway, I'm going to be out there tomorrow. Mornings or afternoons better for you. You switched it up, got them talking about something, and then you're like, well, listen, I'm going to give you a call back no matter what. And you said your name was Shane, right? Yep, just like the old cowboy movie. You remember the cowboy movie? Oh, yeah. You see how you're getting their brain on a different topic? Get them off the rebuttal, and half the time they forget by the time you come back. You just talked about 2 minutes of the movie Shane, and now we're back on. But anyway, listen, Martha, I promise I won't take up too much of your time, more than I'll be there 10 or 15 minutes unless you need me there longer. But listen, I'm going to be out there. I got to get this information out to you. They got me out in your area only for the next 2 days. What time is going to be better for you? And more than likely, you can overcome it, agree with them, move on, book the appointment, keep on rolling. You get what I'm saying? That's the easiest way to do it. And just keep hitting the rebuttal, go back to the script. Hit the rebuttal, go back to the script. Don't let them get you off a script. So, for instance, they say, well, how much would this be anyway? You say, what, Ms. Martha, I don't know exactly how much it would be. That's exactly why we come out there. But let me ask you a question. Mornings or afternoons are typically better for you because, I'm going to be out there. Should only take about 10 or 15 minutes. Mornings. All right, well, great. I'm a morning person. You like early morning, like 8 a.m. early? You like late in sleeper, like 11 to 12? Well, I like early, 8 a.m. Perfect. Listen, I'm an early person. Do you drink coffee? Miss Martha, you drink coffee? Yeah? All right, listen,
No.
you get the coffee. You don't drink coffee?
No, never.
All right, well, I drink coffee. I'll bring coffee. You like donuts?
Yes, I do.
What's your favorite donut?
Krispy Kreme.
Krispy Kreme donuts. All right, just the original ones or you like the filled ones?
I like the originals.
All right, well, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get the coffee. I'm going to make sure I'm caffeinated up. I'm going to be at your house tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. I'm going to bring 2 Krispy Kreme donuts with me, and we'll sit there and eat them while we chat about this insurance. Sound fair? And then you go back into it. So do you guys see how you go back and forth there? And like I said, this is going to take you a little bit to get into, but once you get into it, it just goes in. The main rebuttal is, like you said, Martha, the biggest one. Well, I don't remember doing this. You know what? Most people don't. This was a couple weeks ago. I don't remember what I did yesterday. But anyway, I'm sorry it took me so long to get back to you. We have so many people responding to our program. It's just taking me a while to get back to everybody. But anyway, I have your information right here. See how you say but anyway? I have your information right here in front of me. I just need to verify what you wrote down. So you hit the rebuttal and then go back to, anyway, I just need to verify some of this information, and you go right back in it. Well, what's this about anyway? Well, this is about the information you read about the final expense insurance and the high cost of funerals rising. You actually read that on the flyer that you got, and it said if you were looking for additional information to fill this out and send it back in, and an agent would give you a call. Well, that's me. So anyway, I'll explain to you a little bit more in detail, and when you see the card, you'll probably remember it. But anyway, I just need to verify some of the information that I have here for you. So do you see how you just keep going back to it, guys? So that's pretty much as simple as the phone script is. The phone script, you want to make sure that you're booking 6 appointments per day. And did you guys hear me talking about a bridge where I put them in between a certain time? So a bridge appointment is, let's say you're booking every hour on the hour. You're booking at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, and at 12 o'clock. So let's say you got somebody that they haven't talked to their husband, haven't talked to their wife, don't know what time is going to be better. They don't know what time they're getting home. He's got to go to the store, and he won't be back grocery shopping, or I have a nail appointment, who knows what. I would say, listen, if I've tried to tie them down to a time, even to a weekend, and they still can't do it Saturday morning or afternoon, and I just can't get a guaranteed time down, you want to try to book it on the first time. So I would just say, Martha, listen, I'm going to put you down as a bridge appointment. What I'm going to do is I'm already pretty much jam-packed between 9 and 12 tomorrow, but I got to get this information while I'm out there. I'm going to put you down between 9 and 12 and try to stop by in between appointments. like I said, I don't have a lot of time, so it should take me about 10 or 15 minutes. Do me a favor, talk to your husband. Let him know that I'm going to try to stop out there between 9 and 11 or 9 and 12. If he can be there, great. If not, we'll get out there and we can go from there. All right. So I'm going to put you down here between 9 and 11. I usually put 3-hour gaps. So I'm going to put you down here between 9 and 11, and we'll see you tomorrow. Now, listen, they might say, okay, well, if I'm here, all right, well, listen, if not, I was going to door knock them anyway. Now, let's say somebody declines you altogether. Okay. I want to open this up for everybody to ask a question. So if you get a rebuttal and they just say they're not interested and then they hang up on you, what do you do with that lead from there? I want to hear some of your input.
I would probably at a later date just drive past the home.
That's actually one of the first things the second thing I would do. The first thing I would do is call them back. If you just hung up on me, Martha, I can't wait to call you back because ever since I was in grade school, I don't even like my 4th grade girlfriend hanging up on me. You know what I mean? It just bothers me. So I'm going to pick up the phone and I'm going to be chipper when I call you back. And I'm going to call you back and say, hey, Miss Martha, listen, I apologize. Listen, I have Verizon. And for some reason today, my phone has been hanging up on everybody. But anyway, I'm sorry for that. But anyway, what I was saying, and I go back into it, and either they're just going to keep on listening finally and I get back on the call, or they're going to say, I told you I wasn't interested, and they hang up on me. Now, if they do that, I'm going to say, okay, I got you, Miss Martha. Miss Martha, I'm going to be at your house tomorrow, first thing in the morning, 10 a.m. I'll be there after my first appointment. So I'm going to go door knock them, and when I door knock them, right, what's their first? Last night when I talked to you on the phone, I wasn't interested, right? So here's what I'm going to say. Wait, Martha, you talked to somebody on the phone? Oh, you must have talked to somebody in our home office. I'm the field guy. Okay, well, anyway, they were probably calling you trying to tell you that I was going to be out here today. That's probably why they were calling. But anyway, I'm here now. This was the flyer you filled out. And then you just try to rebook it just like a cold door knock. So I'm door knocking you regardless. And even if you kick me off your porch at that time, I'm still going to call you back a couple months from now. You might be having a bad day. Maybe, maybe you'll be cooped up in the house. I don't know what the problem is, or maybe one of my other agents can call you. I've had another agent call and they love them. They hated me, but love them, Mm-hmm. So they're the different things that I would do, but a lead is not dead until it's dead. Until they pass away, that lead that's not out. So any questions so far, guys, on phone booking? Nothing?
Just one more question, Shane.
Yeah, what's up?
When you get the one that's so insistent as what you're exemplifying there, place me on the do not call list. What happens?
No, I mean, if they say put me on the do not call list, then at that point, listen, once they say that, I will just throw that lead away and not call them because I don't want a $15,000 fine. That's like if me and you were arguing and you say I'm gonna get my lawyer. I'm like, oh, okay, no problem, Dawn. See you later, buddy. Don't call me again.
Thank you. That was my reaction anyway.
Yeah, it's not worth a $15,000 fine or whatever it is,
Yeah, the only thing I would do is apologize too. Say, I'm terribly sorry. We will not call you again.
Yeah, right there when they first say it, I would tell them this to try to save it. The first thing I would say to them is, Dawn, listen, remember, you're not on a call list. Let me explain something to you, Mr. Dawn. We don't cold call or we don't telemarket anybody. The only way we call you, Dawn, is if you answer a commercial from a television commercial or send in your information through the mail. So let me be honest with you. The only way I called you today is because you had reached out to us first. Okay, so let me ask you a question. When you did this and you called the commercial, at that time, what were you calling for? Were you just looking to add some more coverage onto what you have? I'll go back to that and I might be able to refresh it and get back in the game. But that's the only thing you can do. And if they say, no, listen, I'm not interested, I didn't do this, blah, 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 then just take me off your list and click, then, at that point, I just kind of go. You can try to door knock it You just got to remember you put yourself at risk if they push the issue. I mean, in our market, you're not going to get as many people push the issue, just to be honest. They're not going to go hire a lawyer because you called them. You just want to make sure that you just understand the risk you put yourself in by doing that. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
All right. So perfect. What else, guys? Anything else? All right. That's phones. That's booking. Next part, health insurance plans. You guys are going to go do more research this on your own, but I just want to briefly touch on it. You know, I've worked for different companies in the past, and I'll tell you, they never really had a health plan for their agents. If you were a 1099 agent, you were on your own. You're your own business. So for us to have, you know, a group health plan is huge for people that are, you know, on medications or need, you know, health coverage for their family. Either way, it's huge. The more production you write, you do got to qualify during the qualification period in a 3-month period. You got to be writing 27,000 in a quarter. Individual 450, family 755. The more business you write, the less it's going to cost you. Okay. If you have a team, then you can get it based upon your team production. So if you want to look more into this, take a look onto your agent resource center. It's going to be on there. One nice thing, over the last couple of weeks, we just added vision and dental onto our plan. Huge, 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 huge. This is the first year in 11 years that I ever had a vision and dental plan with any company. So that's huge. So you check that out. Remember I was talking earlier about the convention trip. Guys, look at this convention trip. You only need to do $48,000 as a producer for the year to qualify for convention. That's $4,000 a month. If you guys are not writing $4,000 a month, there's a problem. So $4,000 a month, I could write $4,000 my first 4 days in the field for the month and kick back and play golf the rest and still go to convention. I'm not saying do that. I'm just saying every single person on this training should be in convention. It goes from February 1st to January 31st. So you guys have plenty enough time. If you're an agency and you're a manager, you can qualify for management. You only need to do $50,000 a month on average. That's nothing. If you guys write more, if you're writing $8,000 to $10,000 on average a month, they'll give you $500 to $1,000 cash. Not only is it all inclusive, you know, you go down there, but guess what? You guys go down there, you're going to get $500 to $1,000. It's huge. So make sure you guys are all at the breakers. Want to see everybody down there for qualifications. If you like to wear flashy jewelry, if you want to, you know, get a Rolex watch, write $150,000, get a Rolex for yourself. If you want to get one for your spouse, do $250,000, you'll get one, or just go give one to your friend. I promise you it'll be a good recruiting tool. If you go and write $250,000 and you go to your best friend and hand him a Rolex and say, hey, you're my best friend. We've been friends since grade school. I just want to give you a Rolex for the year. I did so well. They gave me an extra one to give to you. They're going to be like, what? I mean, crap. They just gave him a $7,000 Rolex or whatever, you know. If they don't work for you at that point, or work with you, I should say, then I don't know what would get them. So go get yourself a Rolex. You're already working hard. Why not wear something on your wrist? Guys, that's everything for the training. I want to thank everybody for getting on here. We're getting done a little bit early, and it's just because there's less people on here today than usual. So I want to thank everybody for getting on. Make sure you guys, I will get information out for a Dropbox, which is basically some of the information that we went over. A lot of the different stuff that we went on the slides is all going to be in there. Make sure you guys go in, and you're also going to be able to watch this recording. We did record this for today, so you're going to be able to go in there and watch this over and over. And here's what I advise. I advise don't make this a one-time training. If you guys have the opportunity and you can get on this training every week, I would get on it every week just until you become good and you're writing 10, 15, 20,000 every month. If you're not writing 10,000 every month and you're writing 5, 6, 7,000 every month, why are you not back on this training is what I want to ask you. Because obviously, I don't care how long you've been in this business. If you're not writing 10,000 or more per month, you need to be on this training, no matter how many times. So if you guys ever need anything from me, you know, you'll always be able to reach out to me. You know, I appreciate you guys getting on, you know, today. So let's just get out there, get trained up. Make sure you get with your manager after this. Make sure you order leads if you need leads. And then let's go from there. So I appreciate everybody getting on.